New York Knicks are on the precipice of immortality, one win away from their first NBA championship in over 50 years. They remember losing in the finals, Game 7 to the Rockets in '94. They remember losing in the finals to the Spurs in '99. So generations of fans have been waiting for this moment, like legendary actor and star of the upcoming film, The Only Living Pickpocket in New York, John Turturro. We sat down one-on-one for a pulse check on his nerves ahead of the big game. Place your nerves right now.
Right.
Wedding day, big audition,
Right.
first audition,
Right.
chance at a Knicks championship.
Yeah, I guess they're all very comparable. I mean, I've gone on stage and been really nervous too.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you go on stage, you can control it a little bit. You're doing it.
Yeah.
As a fan, you're watching it.
Yeah.
You're giving your support, but you're watching it, and that's it's not as when you can actually do something about it. That's actually helpful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's up there.
Yeah. That's a high bar, though. That's a high bar.
That's a high bar.
I was talking to Spike Lee earlier this week, and you two were born around the same time.
We're 3 weeks apart. I'm 3 weeks older than him.
So I'm guessing you started supporting the Knicks around the same time. How did you get into the team?
Well, his dad took him
Yeah.
to the. I was a sports fan. I sort of fell in love with the game. You know, I was like 10, like 11. So I followed the Knicks, went through the Bernard King era, and then when they got Patrick, I had a little money at the time, and I scraped together money. I got tickets that were in the green seats. I had season tickets. I was on all those games. Even the 7th game in '94, I went with Spike and Branford Marsalis, and that was a heartbreaker.
You mentioned going with Spike back in '94. Just tell me about that relationship. Obviously, you guys have done a lot of movies together.
Once we did Do the Right Thing, and
Yeah.
we did Jungle Fever, and Mo Better, and Clockers, and so I would go. Sometimes, he would say, "Listen, I can't pay you amount of money that you normally get." So I would say, "Well, then give me 5 games." You know what I mean? So at that time, but yeah, we went to a lot of games and had some really fun experiences. Have the Shaq almost kill us once, fall on top of us when he was with Orlando, and I went like this,
You covered Spike.
I covered Spike, because I figured, well, I'm bigger than him, so
Of course.
maybe I take a.
You have a better chance against Shaq.
Yeah,
than
not
Spike.
much.
Yeah. You were with Spike, I think, out in Brooklyn when
the Fancy
he was,
Free.
When he's hanging out of the car,
Right,
as the crowd's yelling at him. How would you describe this run in New York City and as a Knicks fan?
Well, I think we've been building to it, and
Yeah.
I think losing to Indiana last year gave us a little bit more of an incentive to know what it's like. We could have beaten Indiana.
Yeah.
We had them,
Yeah.
and we let them go. And I think that, but each year they've progressed. It's very exciting. I guess the younger you are, you haven't been through the heartbreak and also the
Not
euphoria
quite. Yeah,
of winning
yeah.
too. But that's what it's like. But they've brought a lot of joy to the city, and it's really hard. I'm glad I'm not doing a job right now because I really can't concentrate. I mean, my wife knows that all around my whole house, it's all Knick paraphernalia. I got my Walt Frazier card, my old card in my wallet tonight.
Yeah, keep it close.
Yeah, I'm keeping it close.
I was listening to a previous interview you did, and I think you said one of your favorite things about a Knicks game or a Knicks win is riding the subway after the Knicks win.
The best.
Why is that? Tell me about that.
Everyone's looking at each other. Everybody's talking, sharing how they felt, whatever. When they came back from 22 down against Cleveland with 7.5 minutes, everyone was smiling, but everyone looked like they were in shock. So I would look at you like for confirmation, like,
Yeah.
Did I just dream that, or did I see that? It was so much fun, and it's like a small town. All of a sudden, you're like, I'm in this city that no one ever looks at each other, and everyone's talking to each other.
Yeah.
And that's the power of the beauty of sports. It can really, it's egalitarian, and everybody can share that. And I just think that's a great thing. It's like when the Yankees won the World Series in 2001, even though they lost, they brought, after 9/11, they brought the city back to life.
Yeah.
Because you could focus on something for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And that's irreplaceable. It really is. And it's a great thing. It's one of the joys of being alive.
What would a championship mean to you personally, to the city of New York?
I think it would be, it would be very meaningful for a lot of the lifers, for the young people, for whatever age you're at. You know what I mean? It would be, a great thing, for the city if they could, bring it home. And, hoping that they can, but it's like one quarter at a time, one play at a time. And they've gotten this far is a great thing. And we, obviously want them to finish the job. You know what I mean? But it's a big job. But you have to win 4 games.
How much have you spent for just this playoffs or finals?
How much have I spent? What, traveling for tickets?
Buying, yes.
Stuff. I can't divulge that. I mean, it's embarrassing. I haven't even told my wife. I said, don't ask me what I'm doing. I'm not with another woman. I'm with the Knicks.
Yeah.
She knows that's my friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she knows to leave me, be.
It's
She's
your
a
other
fan.
relationship. The Knicks relationship.
That's my other relationship.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's it's the joy of being 10 years old. So if I buy a ticket, and I can afford it, it costs me a little money. I'm sharing that with my son. I wouldn't do that if I wasn't going with my son.
Any ritual, anything?
Superstition? Yeah, I sometimes,
You got that card?
I have the card.
Yeah.
I don't maybe wash the pants, maybe the same shoes.
Yeah. I thought I smelled something.
I got orange underwear, so you know what I mean.
The joy of sports, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
great.
it's great. I didn't dye my hair or anything like that, so no, I'm too old for that.
The last 2 games at New York's Madison Square Garden brought out the usual celebrity superfans. Diehards like Ben Stiller, Spike Lee, Tracy Morgan, and Adam Sandler were all seen courtside. Also among them, Grammy-nominated rapper Fat Joe, who joins us now. He is also the host of the Joe and Jada podcast with friend and fellow MC Jada Kiss. Thanks for coming on. Great to have you here on The Situation Room. So you have built a career using your words to paint pictures and tell stories. For those of us who aren't New Yorkers or big Knicks fans, describe what it feels like right now.
Lifetime of suffering, of letdowns, and it's finally it's still a dream till we finish it. So 3-1, and the other night felt unreal. I haven't slept in 2 days, by the way, and it feels unreal. But we got to and seal the deal. There was nothing like the magic in that arena. We all felt as fans like we played a part in the victory. So the guy screaming at the TV, the lady screaming at the TV, she felt like she pushed her Knicks through. The fandom is on another level.
What are some of the so-called only in New York moments, Fat Joe, that you've seen during the Knicks' record-breaking playoff run?
Well, I've seen Hasidic Jews breakdancing with black kids. I've seen the unity at an all-time high. This is a different type of thing going on over here. And everybody's a Knicks fan, from the mechanic to the baker to everybody's just getting along. Everybody's having these big parties. I have a friend who did put up a screen in the back of his house. He had his whole neighborhood there. He didn't even know his neighbors. This is the type of thing that's happening in New York City.
I love that. And I love just the sense of unity, bringing people together who may not otherwise come together, as you point out. And, when you look back historically, 1999 was the last time the Knicks were in the finals. They weren't expected to win that year. How does this run feel different to you?
Oh, this is way different. And, us older folks, we think about the time Patrick Ewing with the finger roll, but the young kids that are playing, they don't care about no so-called New York Knicks jinx. They're trying to win the championship. The young fans, they don't know all that. They know that Jalen Brunson's the star, Karl Anthony Towns is the star, and so they're rooting for their next team. So we can't compare the two teams, but I love the fact that Patrick Ewing is so involved, and all the former Knicks are courtside at the game. And I got to shout out Mr. Dolan, man. And Mr. Dolan been taking care of the city, making sure everybody's well taken care of, and we love Mr. Dolan.
You know, all of us were watching on TV. The San Antonio Spurs, as you know, had a chance to tie the series during that last game, leading the Knicks by as many as 29 points. But New York mounted a truly amazing, historic second half comeback and pulled ahead in the final seconds of the game. Be honest, Fat Joe. Did you see this coming at all?
I took my daughter to the game. I think she officially knows I'm a lunatic. I went in there like nothing's gonna stop us. Then I was we down 30. I'm like, oh my God. Then I'm like, let's believe God loves us. Let's go. I'm talking to the fans. I'm like, we got cut. Then we're down 20. Yo, this was the biggest emotional roller coaster I've ever went through in my life. I mean, words cannot describe the different emotions I went. Yeah, my daughter officially thinks I'm crazy.
Well, listen, it was an emotional roller coaster for a lot of us,
he's
right?
not crazy.
You're not crazy. You're just a big fan,
he's a big,
right?
huge fan.
So, with that in mind, I'm curious what your answer is going to be to this next question. Tomorrow's game is in San Antonio, but Game 6 would be back in New York. Would you rather the Knicks close it out tomorrow, or do you want them to secure the championship at home?
You know, we can't take nothing for granted. We got to close. Yo, I'm about to head out there now. The people of San Antonio has been very gracious. They've been showing us a lot of love and respect. Shout out to the organization because I've always loved San Antonio. Tim Duncan's my favorite power forward. But this is our year. I keep saying it. And God loves us and God loves Wu-Tang Clan. Okay?
All right, well, good luck. We'll see what happens. Fat Joe, thanks so much for joining us.
And I can say we're big fans. Big
Yes.
fans, Fat Joe.
Thank you, Wolf.
All right, thank you.
We'll be right
I'm
back.
a big fan of you guys.
Oh.
A huge fan of you guys.
We're a big fan
Thank
of yours,
you.
too.
That makes
All
us
right,
feel
we will
good.
stay in close touch, and let's see what happens on the court. Thanks so much for joining us.
Edie Falco, who is a certified Knicks fan and became a courtside MSG staple through plenty of bad years and embarrassing losses and tough ones. And also, yes, through the Knicks being the laughingstock of the NBA, to now having a championship just within their reach. And Edie Falco is my source tonight. It is so great to have you here because, I mean, I can't even imagine what it was like to be in that building last night as they tipped that ball in right there in the last second.
It was more stress than I enjoyed, you know, for the most part. Like I go to games throughout the season, and I don't know. I think I'm better built for those where less is at stake. It just I really like I was like sick to my stomach, and last night I couldn't sleep. I don't know what's happening to me, but it was very, very, very intense. The energy of the crowd was you know, and the noise that they made. It wasn't even a noise. It was like a feeling, like it bordered on a little bit dangerous.
I mean, when you looked at the scoreboard, I mean, this is what everyone was saying last night, you know, that they didn't think it was possible for the Knicks to come back from that point deficit, even going into the third. And when you see that no team has ever come back from 29 points down to win in an NBA Finals game like that, I mean, was there a point there at the end where you were hopeful? How are you feeling in those last few seconds?
Well, you know, as I said, I've been a fan for a long time, and they haven't always done well. And it's sort of like the joke is like, you know, I'll say I'm a Knicks fan. People are like, I'm sorry, just because they break your heart, and it's whatever. It doesn't matter. I've loved them regardless. So when they started to lose, I thought, well, this is familiar, this feeling, you know. And I hope that the boys don't take it too hard. I'm staying win or lose, so it doesn't really matter. And as it started to kind of tick back up, I just thought this can't be happening. I know what this looks like, but there's absolutely no way we're going to walk away with a win. And that's why I love these guys so much. They are as unpredictable a group as ever I have cared about. So,
what would you say about this group? Because they are such a fun team to watch, and you're just personally rooting for so many of them. I mean, when OG tipped that ball in, it was just incredible. I mean, how would you, as someone who goes to so many of the games, how would you describe this team?
They just don't stop. And it feels like, my very romantic idea of New York itself, just made up of a lot of people who had a dream, came to New York, and they just give it their all, like every last second. These guys just never, never give up. And the story with this team feels like, a lot of times the other team is ahead, but it's like they wear them out. Like in the fourth quarter, these guys are still running on 100%. Like the stuff that Jalen Brunson pulls out in the fourth quarter is like, what is that kind of animal there that's doing these shots that nobody's even invented? It's just beyond exciting. I don't know. I'm very uncomfortable being this excited about something in New York. It doesn't feel quite right on some level.
I mean, it was quite a star-studded MSG last night as well. I mean, obviously, we always see Timothée Chalamet, Spike Lee, Taylor Swift was there. I mean, it was kind of the who's who of the celebrity row that was Mariska Hargitay. I mean, everyone was basically there last night in the room.
I felt like, God forbid if like an earthquake had hit MSG, Hollywood would have gone under. There was nobody left. Every single person. I mean, it was a very fancy night.
Yeah, I mean, but also for all the Knicks fans who were there, it's obviously so meaningful. It's an unforgettable night. And, I think you make a good point about you're a Knicks fan through and through, even when they were the, laughing stock for a lot of people in the NBA. And you've supported them for so long. And to see them overcome that and to be where they are on the cusp of such greatness in this moment, I mean, already achieving such greatness, but to be on the cusp of this with the game tomorrow night, how does that feel for you?
I think the game is Saturday night, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah,
God
Saturday. I'm too excited.
It's, I'm so reluctant to let myself go there, and I have this weird feeling of sort of ownership of this team. Like they are clearly like everybody's team now. I mean, everybody has their state team that they root for, but right now it's like everybody's kind of loving the Knicks and watching what the amazing accomplishments and stuff. And I sort of feel like this is my team, like you guys can't have them. I'm here all the time. And I don't know. I have a lot of feelings around my fandom that are not entirely sane and healthy. And, it's between me and my shrink. But nonetheless, it has been one of the more exciting years.
Do you have superstitions when you watch the game? Do you wear the same shirt or eat the same thing or anything like that? Or are you just hoping and praying when you go in that stadium?
I don't know. I would think I would be that person, but I'm not. I kind of sort of feel like they're stronger than that. They don't need me to, to put the same shoes on or whatever, like these guys they're just so driven, and like a bunch of kids who are going to do good, I don't know. They're like that softball team of the kids who nobody picks and they end up winning. I don't know where I get that from, but they're just going to keep fighting till the very end.
Yeah, let's hope so. Edie Falco, it is so great to have you on, and it's amazing. Thank you for staying up for us after a crazy night last night, and we can't wait to see
all good. I'm not going to sleep anyway.
He's a two-time NBA champion, an Olympic gold medalist, an AP College Player of the Year. Go Princeton. Oh, and yes, he also served 3 terms as a U.S. Senator. New York Knicks legend Bill Bradley joins me now. Oh, it's such an honor to talk to you. So glad that you are here. You were at last night's game. You were on the Jumbotron. Walk me through what you were feeling when the comeback was happening, let alone when that shot went up.
That you can't count this team out. If anything happened from yesterday, it's the message you can't count this team out. They're going to pull together. They're going to help each other. They're going to be unselfish. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to be resilient, and they'll find a way to win. And that's what happened last night.
You played in the NBA Finals 3 times back in the 70s. You won the title in 70. You won it in 73. Tell me what it's like to be a player under that kind of spotlight.
Well, you're playing for the championship of the NBA. So if you win, you will be the best in the world for that year. And it's a tremendous motivation. And you have to have great discipline. You have to be willing to help your teammate as much as you help yourself. And, you don't think about how it'll feel when you win, as long as you're playing and you're doing well and there's a flow. And you come out of the flow for shots and passes, and you feel the team is moving in the right way, helping out each other out on defense, doing all the fundamental things that champions do. And that's how you become a champion.
I oftentimes will look to sports figures and become all the more motivated by the resilience, the persistence. Even though it's not in my particular physical wheelhouse, I am motivated and inspired by athletes of that caliber. And there is something really magical in the air in New York City. I mean, you got massive crowds of fans. They've been gathering to celebrate this team. You can't walk down any workplace hallway without everyone being in a Knicks jersey, a Knicks hat. Forget dress code. What does this moment mean for New Yorkers and fans who never thought they'd see this day come again?
Well, if you haven't really experienced your team being excellent for 54 years, and now they're on the brink of being the champion, being the NBA champion, I think that people see themselves going along with them. And they're excited, and they feel confirmed in all the things that their parents told them, that they told their children about discipline and respect and responsibility and about, unselfishness. And that's a key thing in the world today. There's so many models of selfishness in our world today. There's so many people who are out there parading around interested only in themselves. In their own power, in their own money. And yet at the same time, here's a counterexample of that, saying, no, you're unselfish. And when you become unselfish in a game like basketball, you can become the champion of the world. And that's not held by many people. I mean, I've had it twice. You go to the mountaintop, you really do. And forever you're that. And if anybody knows anything about basketball and my play, they know that I was on 2 NBA champions with the New York Knicks. And we're going to have another one very shortly. I keep all my fingers crossed.
I got to ask you quickly, how sweet would it be if they were to take it in San Antonio?
I don't care where they win it. They can win it in San Antonio or New York or wherever. As long as they win another game, that's the only thing that counts. I've won it in Madison Square Garden in a very dramatic 7th game in 1970, and I've won it in LA in a game in the 6th game against the LA Lakers in 1973. You want to know something?
What?
Tasted the same both times.
Well, New Yorkers everywhere want to feel that taste, and they want to hear from you. I'm so glad you came. Bill Bradley, thank you.
Thank you. I admire you so much and what you do. I really do.
Very sweet. I'm going to clip that and send it to every New York Knicks fan and just say, see that? I'm just saying. I'm a legit New Yorker now.
Jubilation as tens of thousands of fans were around Madison Square Garden after the game, celebrating. Harry Hinton is joining me now to talk about the historic win. Were you there? Were you there in the crowd?
I have to admit that it was a little late for me, but I was watching in my apartment. By the way, you're looking awfully orange to me today. I don't know. Yes. Look, I was in my apartment. OG putting it back in after Brunson missed the 3. I went crazy in the apartment.
I got to say, I'm not a huge sports guy. Even I was it was incredible.
It was incredible. And, New Yorkers have been waiting, so long. When I was a kid back in 1994, when the Knicks were in the NBA Finals, my father got me these Charles Oakley autographed sneakers. They're a little bit big. You might be able to try them on after the show. But, the bottom line is this. What happened last night was historic. You go back through the stat books, right? And you essentially say, okay, has a comeback coming back from being down at least 29 points ever happened in an NBA Finals? 0-0-0. It has never happened in NBA.
Because the announcer was saying that this is the greatest comeback.
Mike Breen, what a call by Mike Breen, absolutely sort of encapsulating the enthusiasm of the moment. I mean, that to me, of course, Mike Breen is reported and announced in New York for a long period of time, going national. It just was historic, 0.3% of the time in any game. I mean, look at that Garden. This is what we're talking about, baby. Knicks #1. That's what we're talking about right here with my Knicks sweater on right here. You holding it together?
Yeah, no.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
That's basking in your.
You're basking. You're basking in my fandom right here.
I watched this morning. I watched it with my 2 little kids, and they were like through the roof. They're like right now at home playing. Don't want to sleep. They want to play basketball.
We're talking about record ratings, and it's so important for these kids to kind of grow up, and that's what I think it's all about, right? It's about the kids. It's about the regular fans. But there were also a ton of celebrities.
Yeah, I noticed.
Were at this game. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, what are we talking about? We're talking about Larry David. We're talking Jerry Seinfeld. We're talking Timothy Chalamet. We're talking Taylor Swift.
You should have led with Taylor Swift.
You know what? Taylor Swift, I leave the best for last, Anderson Cooper. That's how it is always on the show. When I appear near the end of your program, you're always leaving the best for last. Adam Sandler was there. I mean, just all of these fans from across the spectrum.
How much were seats? I mean, the seats were crazy.
I mean, some of these seats, you were lucky to get in the Garden for 4 figures, right? You were lucky. Some of these seats were running tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, Anderson.
It was awesome to watch.
It was awesome to watch. Oh, by the way, I just want to note the last time the Knicks won an NBA final was back in 1973. Do we have a picture of Anderson from what he looked like back in 1900? That's how long ago it was. Richard Nixon was president.
What costume was I wearing?
You know what? That's your uniform right there. I think you were maybe doing a little jockeying or something like that, riding the horses.
Child modeling day.
Child modeling day. You still look amazing to me,
Anderson. Very much.
Thank you.
I sat down with the legendary director before the game about just how significant a win this would be for the city.
The Knicks are the one team here in this city, like everybody,
Chris, I think I'm going to ask him about Iran, not inflation.
are the blue skies. And
it unites the city, that team.
I mean, it is amazing. I wrote an opinion piece for the New York Times recently, I think it was last week, and I talked about how it's a love fest here. Everybody's wearing a Knick t-shirt, a hat. You might be I'm walking, down the block, and you see somebody, you don't stop, you give a fist on the go. I'm like, the look. We're not gonna have no conversations, but we're gonna there's a connection.
They know.
It's connection.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it is, and I know people who don't live here think that's some BS, but this is straight up.